All right, welcome back to the channel. So apparently Gervonta Davis is going to be supposed to be fighting Romero, but inside sources tell me that he's really pushing back on it and trying to get the Teofimo Lopez fight. My hat goes off to Gervonta Davis if that is true. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So we're going to talk about Gervonta Davis, Teofimo Lopez, and Romero. But before we do that, please make sure you like the channel, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video. It goes a long way towards helping the channel grow. But all right, so let's chop it up. I am hoping what I am hearing is true. I'm not sure how possible it is, but even if Gervonta Davis is trying to make it happen behind the scenes, look, man, I will take it. I've been pretty rough on Gervonta Davis and Mayweather Promotions for the way that they've been lining up Gervonta Davis over the last several years. So, it's good to hear that Gervonta Davis himself really does want the best fights that can be made in the lightweight division and really wants an opportunity to be the best, to be named the best fighter, right? So it was announced, or the rumor mill had it over the last couple, and I think it's a pretty solid rumor because the WBA has gotten rid of a lot of belts, and they said that they're going to be mandating champions to fight former interim champions to fight regular champions, or all of that stuff. So with all the stuff that's going on with the WBA, I think that there is definitely a chance that they may order Gervonta Davis versus Romero because they're both WBA champions. I think Romero was like the WBA interim champion and Gervonta Tank Davis is the WBA regular champion. But the WBA super champion, the real champion for the WBA is Teofimo Lopez. So, and the much better real fight to be made is between Gervonta Davis and Teofimo Lopez. I personally think about Romero kind of like Chris Colbert said. I mean, Chris Colbert went a little bit overboard with it, but saying, look, man, Romero is the worst fighter. He's the worst fighter ever, right? Like, he's not somebody that where it's going to be a competitive fight between Gervonta Davis and Romero. Romero is almost like a Jake Paul type of sideshow Bob act, but he's actually a fighter that is, that gets pretty much all of his attention through just saying salacious things and clowning people. And then fighting. I mean, to his credit, he does hit very hard, but that's about all he does. He hits very hard, but he is so susceptible to these top level guys that I think the first time he gets in there with a top level guy, and it doesn't matter who it is, it could be Ryan Garcia, it could be Devin Haney, it could be Gervonta Davis, it could be Jorge Linares, right? It could be Javier Fortuna, right? It could be Eric, Robert. I guess Robert Easter Jr. is not fighting at lightweight anymore. It could be any of these guys, and they're going to run through Romero. Romero is only a mouthpiece, and you can just see it how he's fighting. There's as far as like the level of fighter that he is, he's kind of like a Ricardo Mayorga, but like a less talented and less skilled Ricardo Mayorga, right? If you remember, Ricardo Mayorga, he used to smoke the cigarettes and used to smoke cigarettes before fights, and his big claim to fame is that he beat Vernon Forrest. But after he beat knocked out Vernon Forrest, but after he beat Vernon Forrest, he's pretty much, that's all he was a guy that was he hit hard, he talked a lot of smack, and he did like kind of sideshow things like smoke cigarettes. And that's who Romero reminds me of. Just like a Ricardo Mayorga. If he fights Gervonta Davis is going to beat him. More than likely, Gervonta Davis is going to stop him, and it's just not going to be as good a fight as you could get if Gervonta Davis was fighting better. He was fighting the best guy in the division. And I personally think that Gervonta Davis is probably the best guy in the division, but the guy that has most of the belts is Teofimo Lopez. So my people are telling me that Gervonta Davis wants to do that. He doesn't want to fight subpar competition, and you've actually heard this out of Gervonta Davis at other times when Gervonta Davis has disagreed with Floyd Mayweather or the matchmaking that they're trying to do for him. Gervonta, my understanding, his name the fighters that he wants and in the order that he wants them, which was Teofimo Lopez, Teofimo Lopez first, and I think he said Ryan Garcia after that, Devin Haney after that. And those are the actual guys that he wants to fight. But, what are the chances of us getting that in boxing? There was an interview that took place earlier today where Jaron Ennis was asked about the fight between Terrence Crawford and Sean Porter. And he was like, and I hated that what he said was true, but he's like, yeah, this is a really big fight because, 90% of the time, the fights that you really want to get in boxing, you're not going to get. 90% of the time, the fights that you want to see in boxing are not going to get made. And that is just a huge problem in boxing. And I think that the approach that Mayweather Promotions is taking in boxing right now is really adding fire to the flame in that regard. Because, if you look at who Gervonta Davis is fighting, Gervonta Davis has not fought anybody of note, any real legitimate fighter, I think, that had a chance to beat him yet. Except for, maybe if you considered Leo Santa Cruz, who was moving up pretty much as a 126-pound fighter, moving up in weight to be somebody that was, had a legitimate chance to beat Gervonta Davis. But I don't think so. I think Gervonta Davis is a lightweight, and the guys that really, have the good fights with Gervonta Davis are bigger than Leo Santa Cruz. But the way that Leonard Ellerbe talks about Gervonta Davis and Floyd Mayweather Jr. talks about Gervonta Davis, it's just very apparent that they don't have any interest in making those type of fights. Leonard Ellerbe was on Twitter and he was talking about how long it takes to make a big attraction, right? And he said, he wasn't talking about good fights. He's talking about, to make somebody an attraction where people want to go see him, that it takes a long time to make somebody an attraction. And what is he talking about when you say make somebody attraction, and how does he go about making somebody an attraction? You make them an attraction by setting them up with a bunch of fights that they can win, but at the same time that the fights, they're very, very winnable fights for their guy. You make sure that there's an exciting end to it, and the fight doesn't look like it's too big of a mismatch. So what they're doing with Gervonta Davis is, right, they've get him some old fighters, some past their prime fighters, or who have names like Yuriorkis Gamboa, Leo Santa Cruz, mix it in with some guys that are who are physically bigger than moving up to 140 to get a belt at Mario Barrios. So, it clearly shows that Gervonta Davis is, he's not just a 1-division champion, he's a 3-division champion, right? Those type of gimmicks, right, that you use around to build up the name of your fighter. But in my opinion, that is basically my response to Leonard Ellerbe would be I don't care about him being a big attraction, because I'm not going to know. You're not going to make me know who Gervonta is more than I already know who he is now. I already know who he is. I already know who the other fighters are around him. I would hope, if you want to make a superstar out of the guy, that you don't leave out of the equation that the guy is actually beating the best fighters that are out there. And he has an opportunity to do that, at lightweight, because he's the cash cow at lightweight. I'm sure that they could work out something between Teofimo Lopez and Top Rank if they were trying to do a pay-per-view or something like that. And Teofimo and Gervonta has the ability to beat him. So, I say go ahead and do it. I think, I hear that Gervonta Davis wants to do it, but the big holdup on that is Mayweather Promotions and what they want to do with them. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.